Eric Averill, and I'm joined by my partner Brandon Averill. Today,
Disclaimer: Eric Averill and Brandon Averill are the co-founders of AWM Capital. Due to industry regulations, it's essential to explicitly state that investment or strategies mentioned on this podcast may not be suitable for you, and you should discuss your specific situation with a qualified, certified financial planner. All opinions expressed by podcast participants are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of AWM Capital or its affiliates. For more information, visit athleteceo.com.
hey there, Athlete CEO listeners. I'm your host, Eric Averill from Athlete Wealth, and you're listening to the Athlete CEO podcast. Each week, we aim to bring you world-class interviews with some of the brightest and successful entrepreneurs, athletes, and business minds today, sharing actionable insight on how to get more out of your business, finances, and life. You won't be hearing any vague theory or strategies from us. Our guests have walked the walk and are committed to sharing the best of what they know so you can apply the lessons they've learned. Whether you're an athlete, entrepreneur, or just looking to hear from some crazy successful guests, this podcast is for you. Now, enough with the intro. Let's dive into today's show. If you're a professional athlete or an entrepreneur looking to master your money, business, or life, this podcast is for you. On today's episode, I chat with Ryan Mandley, co-founder of The Gallon Gear, whose company mission is to help the world drink more water. In addition to co-founding Gallon Gear, Ryan is a leading real estate expert with more than a decade of experience. During our conversation, we discussed the hurdles his team had to overcome when launching their prototype, how he is thinking and staying ahead of the rapidly changing internet marketing trends, and whether we are doomed to repeat the 2008 real estate market crash. So I hope you enjoy my conversation today with Ryan Mandley. Take us back to the beginning on Gallon Gear. You were sharing with me before we started recording. You founded it in 2014. What was the idea? Was it just you? Did you have some buddies? How'd you come up with it?
Yeah, for sure. So started it in October 2014 is when we actually started selling the product. So obviously there's a lot of planning and time and effort that went into it prior. And definitely had some buddies involved. So it was one of my good buddies that was in and out of the gym all the time, and he was always carrying his gallon around and trying to get his gallon of water in a day, and had his pockets full of his phone and his keys and his wallet and everything else, and he always had piles of stuff kind of laying next to him. So he started tinkering around with the idea of putting it on some sort of gallon to have all of your stuff in one place. So he approached me and one other guy with kind of the idea, and it's like, hey, I kind of put this little prototype together. What do you think about it? And immediately when he showed it to me, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, So I've always been open to ideas, and we've all kind of tried our different things, but I kind of felt like this is something different. So I totally told him I was down to get involved and help invest in it and push it forward. And fast forward 4 years later almost, here we are.
Yeah. And tell me about the prototype, from the very first one to what we're seeing sitting here today. How different is it? What was that process?
Yeah, so it's got a lot of similarities. I think we really just changed a few things to make it more functional and more durable. Like the key strap used to be kind of up here, and it's kind of tugging on the neoprene, so it was like making some issues there. So we put it in this stitching. We adjusted the pocket a little bit to make sure it can hold some of the bigger phones. As time changes, people are getting the iPhone Pluses and all that stuff, so it'll support most of those phones. And then just really trying to customize it to fit a gallon of milk, which it's created for. And then we've also started creating our own bottles that people want BPA-free options, and they want to cut down on their plastic waste reduction and all that good stuff. So
yeah. How well does it work? What are the stats on it? Does it keep it that much cooler? Obviously, being here in Arizona, this is a godsend.
Yeah, so it does keep it quite a bit cooler, as you're out in the summer and you're trying to get your gallon in. You don't necessarily want to be drinking a hot gallon, but it is also 115, 20 plus, so not very many things are going to keep it ice cold all day, but it definitely does keep it a lot cooler. So it's nice to have all your stuff in one place, especially when you're at the gym. If you like to work out with Bluetooth headphones, you can really have a hands-free experience and have nothing in your pocket. So
yeah,
it's been pretty cool.
How, as far as the process, I was on your guys' website, and it looks like you guys have trademarked this product. I mean, when you look at it, it's like, oh, it's a koozie for a gallon of water, right? You know, it's fascinating. To one of those things that I love just about entrepreneurship, that you would assume, oh, like that idea's been done or taken. What was that process to go through the trademarking, and are there other competitors out there, or what's that landscape?
Yeah, so first off, like you said, it seems like such a simple thing that some people, they see it, they're almost like dumbfounded, like they can't they can't get their head around it. Sometimes they're like, what are these guys, smoking whenever they come up with this, because it seems so simple, right? So that is kind of the concept behind it. But basically, to start it all out, we had to go through all the patenting process and the trademark process and all that stuff. So whenever entering into a patent process, you meet with your patent attorney and decide kind of what directions you want to go. Do you want to file a design or utility patent? What would be the best for you, and then you start having to come up with a name, one that's not already out there, and do all kinds of trademark searches on the names and things of that nature. So there's a lot of time and effort and cost that went into it up front in the beginning. Before you can even start pushing forward with bringing any kind of product to market. So that probably took us a good 8 to 12 months before we actually was able to find a manufacturer and have a product that we could even put out there with all of our trademarks and protection as best we possibly could in place. Since we did create it, there's been some few kind of knockoff attempts here and there. But we've pretty much been the market leader, and obviously having our attorneys kind of following those other guys around, sending them friendly letters and all that stuff to try to scare them away a little bit. But with the way things are with China and Alibaba and all that other stuff, it's easy for people to try to copy almost anything that's out there.
Yeah, of course. For you guys launching it, what was maybe the most difficult part of the process that maybe you didn't expect with launching? It could be the physical product or just even the business in general. I think I know from my standpoint and our partners starting a business and going through it, right? You can read as many books as you want, and then when you start actually doing business, that's the best education you can get. What were maybe a few of those stories that you can think of when you guys first launched?
Yeah, like you said, I think just jumping into it, you don't really know what you don't know until you get in the middle of it. But I think the hardest part was, since it was such a new concept and there's nothing else out there like it, it took a little while to start gaining some traction. So it's the whole thing of, I don't want to be the first person to be doing something and maybe somebody thinks I'm silly or, whatever the case may be, to now that, the majority of the people out there that are carrying gallons and, at least have an idea of what it is, or a lot of them are using it, So I think that was a key. And we got really lucky because we started putting ourselves in position to, even though it was expensive, we started going to a lot of the big shows like the Olympias and, the Europas and the Arnolds and those kind of things. And some of the bigger social media influencers, would come and approach us, and they either had bought one already or they seen it and they're super excited about it. So as opposed to like a clothing line or a supplement line or all those other companies that there's a million of them, they were just happy to use it and promote it just because it was something that they liked, and it wasn't something that we had to pay them to do. So we still have some of the biggest social media influencers out there in the bodybuilding space that just push our product for free because they like it, and we just send them out new renditions whenever it comes out there. And getting started too, after you spend all your money on your trademarking and your attorneys and trying to get your website up and finding a manufacturer and how many different renditions of your prototype that cost to create one that actually kind of works for you. You have a lot of money and time invested in it, so once you get started, you're just trying to do as much things that you can without incurring a ton of overhead cost.
Yeah, trying to run that lean startup is super important. And I think, obviously you guys put your money where it should have been on the trademark process.
Yeah.
And we all know that attorneys don't work for free.
Yeah.
And they do a good job of protecting their legal fees. So the fact that you can get influencers who actually genuinely love the product to promote it, not just for a paycheck. We see that in the athlete space of there's that tension a lot of times where companies are trying to grow and they'll approach our clients for an endorsement deal. And from our clients' sports agents, a lot of times it is purely financially driven. But every once in a while, we'll see clients tell their agents, "Hey, I don't care that I'm not getting paid. I love this product." And that's exciting that you've got some of those influencers who come to you and say, "No, I'm already using it. This is something I want to be a part of." So that's great. And beyond the social media, what other outlets are you guys selling in?
So obviously we have a big presence on Gallon Gear, so everyone can check it out at Gallon Gear on Instagram, Facebook, same thing. And then we obviously migrated into the Amazon space because there's a lot of people on there looking to purchase our product, and we were getting a lot of requests for that. So we are now selling all of our full gallon covers, and all of our BPA-free gallons are available on Amazon. So that's been a big outlet for us, and we're starting to get into a lot of gyms, nutrition stores, those type of retail outlets have been just kind of hitting us up naturally from seeing us, being at those expos and seeing us online and seeing other people have it. So we're in quite a few of those across the U.S. We're starting to sell a decent amount internationally, which is interesting. As most places outside the U.S. are on the liter system, right? So they don't really have gallon type bottles. So this is pretty interesting to them, and so now they're, I think, creating a big hype and a demand for a gallon size jug, which we have the only durable BPA-free gallon on the market that's out there right now. So we were wholesaling another company's gallons for a while that looked pretty cool, but they were super lightweight, and if you dropped one, it's almost 8 pounds or 8 pounds of water weight. It's going to break most of the time. So
yeah,
they had a lot of people like, "Oh, your guys' gallons have problems." Well, we're like, first, they're not ours gallons, and the only reason we started selling them was because you guys kept asking us for it, and we post pictures. But we wanted to do better for our customers, so we went ahead and bought a mold and created our own BPA-free gallon that can withstand a 8-pound water weight drop. So
wow.
I think that says a lot about our company really wanting to do whatever we can to give our customers what they want, and have a product that we can stand behind.
Yeah, that's fantastic. As far as what's that process been like with Amazon? I have some other friends and a client that owns a supplement company, and so much of their sales are online, pretty much 95% of them. And they've talked about this tension of Amazon actually cannibalizing some of their other sales online, of course, but they're the necessary evil.
Yeah.
But suppressing margins. How are you guys thinking through that? Did you start to see that and just say, "Hey, it's the inevitable, so let's have a presence on Amazon"? How did you guys think through that process?
Well, first, just getting a product on Amazon there's nothing else like it was a huge challenge, because usually you can go on Amazon and be like, "Okay, what kind of product type do you have? Like, what ASN numbers match?" And like you can list it under a different, basically, parent account with a different variation. But since there was nothing like this out there, we had to go through and create our own, basically, product description and line and all that stuff. So it's basically like hours and hours on the phone with Amazon just to try to get one of them available for sale.
Yeah.
So once we went through that process, we trial and errored a bunch of different things, but we started getting all of our colors on there. We actually had another company that we were allowing to sell some online started selling on there, and we started noticing our Amazon sales are going down, but theirs are going way up. So we're like, wait a sec, this doesn't make a lot of sense to be competing with ourselves on there. So
yeah.
To eliminate that, we're the only person that's able to sell on Amazon now, because there's no sense in creating competition for yourself.
Yeah.
So we went through that trial and error, and we've tested. You can obviously Amazon Prime or Amazon Seller Fulfilled Prime. So we've thought about all those options. We actually started testing Amazon Seller Fulfilled Prime, but the way that Amazon works is they force you to use their basically shipping fulfillment platforms, which are way more expensive than the ones that we were doing, and they force you to do basically like 2-day shipping on everybody. So sometimes our product retails for $29.99. We have to give Amazon their cut, and then they're on you to get this product shipped out through their platform within 2 days. Sometimes the shipping is like $20 or $25. You're like losing money to do that.
Yeah.
So it made no sense for us to go Amazon, sell it fulfill Prime. Maybe someday we'll go Amazon Prime, but you obviously have to give them more money, which it doesn't really make sense for us to do because you can't get it faster anywhere else anyways, right?
Yeah.
So like typically if you're looking for a product like, oh, this one's not Prime, this one's not Prime, this one is Prime, I want this one, right? But it's not going to be that way for us on there.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's fascinating. As far as your guys' approach online, I mean, I'm always fascinated meeting companies that have a physical product because you've been forced to not only be really a physical product company, but almost like a digital marketing company or an online, company with the sales. Where have you guys found your best opportunities? What's the biggest challenge online, if it's a specific platform or just kind of as you see the space moving forward to be able to sell stuff online?
I think it's just been a combination of everything, and kind of as mentioned, when starting out, our budget was a lot less, for advertising than it was. So, we started looking at all the other platforms, like, obviously you have your website, and then you could try by Google AdWords, things of that nature, which I think that's probably one of the most expensive things besides, print and media advertising. So we're like, oh, I don't necessarily want to do that. So, first of all, we just started trying to hit up additional influencers because we saw the ones that were using and liking it were like, oh, driving quite a bit of traffic to our site and, getting some hype on our pages. So then we started kind of running around and hitting up as many of the bigger social media, people in the fitness, or extreme weight loss or those type of arenas, try to get as many of their hands and get them promoting. So we started creating, promo codes and things of that nature for those guys to, offer a discount to their fan base, and then they get a discount on the website, and then they can earn a little commission if they're, an ambassador or athlete with us. So we started hitting that pretty hard, and then we just started really figuring out kind of how much money we could push into, Facebook advertising. So that's really where we started, and it's a lot of just A/B testing, figuring out, how are we going to get people on our website to see this? What's the most, cost-effective way to do this? So running all the different ad types, different pictures, images, videos, all that stuff. And then we started moving more into Instagram advertising as well. Facebook owns Instagram, so a lot of the ads are connected. So we're still running a lot of our Facebook ads on Instagram, and we have separate ads that we're running on Instagram. So, every day it's a new A/B test, and with all the new regulation out on Facebook on who you can target and all that stuff, can throw some curveballs your way. So, yeah. I think as soon as you think you have something figured out, something could change, right? And then you gotta reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
But it's definitely been interesting for us.
Yeah, wow. So for you, obviously you're a user of your own product. Where do you train here locally? Where do you work out at?
I work out at the Village Guinea Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of a higher end gym, so there's not as many people in there running around carrying gallons of water. So I don't get to see as many of my customers as I like to, but whenever I go to the more, bodybuilder type gyms, like Independence gyms, or some of the ones like that, Gold, some of those other ones, there's a lot of them in there. So yeah, it's pretty cool when you see people you don't know that are using your product.
Yeah, not a lot of tennis moms walking around with the gallon jugs. No, even though we all should. It's we were chatting that we had interviewed Eric Cressy on here prior, who's to me just one of my mentors in the health and fitness industry and sports performance. And we were just talking about the translation for business people of, being a former athlete, I would have never kind of not prepared, right, for my sport, whether it's my nutrition, hydration, and those type of things. And yet in the business world, we'll roll into a day massively dehydrated, right? Mm-hmm. He had posted something that he went to bed at a certain weight and woke up about 8 pounds lighter, complete dehydration, right? And it's the number one cause of fatigue is lack of water. And so it's funny. It'd actually be really cool if that became the trend, right? Walking into a boardroom or into this meeting and boom, here it is. So
it's a lot more, it's more acceptable to carry in with it covered up and looking nice than, your normal milk gallon stuff jug, walking around. It creates a lot of conversation, and we're really just getting started as far as, scratching the surface of, where this could go or who's using it. So
yeah,
it's definitely fun.
And as far as obviously this is a festive 4th of July cover here, you guys give the option to customize these things, or is it at this point it's, hey, we have some different types to sell, but you haven't got into the customization per like client?
So we have a couple options. We have I think it's probably around 17 different colors of the gallon, and probably like 7 to 10 different colors over half gallon style. Gallon gear, both of them have the same functionality. For certain companies, or if you place a certain large order, then we could custom brand it for them. Usually have a 250 unit minimum or so to do any kind of custom branding. Then we have a lot of smaller like gyms or teams or whatever they want to do some of their own custom branding stuff on the side. We were at the Lube Fregno Expo last year, and they had a bunch of them made for the Fregno Expo, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And so we're starting to do kind of more themes. Like obviously we have the American one, and then we came out with the thin blue line one, which we were really excited about. A lot of people were asking us for it, and so we kind of wanted to get more involved in the community and see what we could do to start giving back more. So that thin blue line one, a portion of sales go to the David Glasser Association, which was that police officer that got killed a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So we're starting to do some things like that, which I'm pretty proud of, and are pretty cool.
Yeah, that's exciting. Well, I love hearing all about this, but this is like your side hustle. So it's fascinating to me being a business owner. I absolutely love these concepts, and it probably translates straight into what you do full time in the real estate industry. Walk me through, what your passion is right now, what you do really full time.
Yeah, so my main passion is real estate and helping people purchase or refinance, or move money around or pay off debt or whatever the case may be to, help accomplish their financial goals. And obviously a big passion of mine is, fitness as well. So I've been, trying to work on kind of blending the both of those. But been in, the real estate industry for 18 years now. Majority have been the mortgage business side of things. So we've obviously been through the downturns and the crashes and all that fun stuff, and now we're kind of on the other side where things are expanding and blowing up again. So can pretty much help anybody from the first time home buyer to the seasoned real estate investor that's buying a bunch of different properties. So access to all those programs and platform to do that.
Yeah. What being in the industry that long and seeing kind of the mortgage crisis and being on this side of it, there's a lot of conversation, and I think it's more media driven and lack of education, but a lot of people are saying, hey, is the market getting too hot? Are we headed for the same disaster again? From your opinion, why should that not be a fear, or should it be a fear? What are your thoughts around that?
Well, kind of the whole thing that created the whole disaster was, the banking and the loose limits and people, fraudulently making things up. And, you had the guy, working at McDonald's or whatever the case may be, and saying he's making $100,000 a year to qualify for some house that he's putting no money down, and he's got a 580 FICO score, So you start thinking about that, and he's buying 2 or 3 or 4 of these type of houses, right? So he can't even afford to have one, but he's buying 4 of them. So any hiccup or bump in the road, is going to put that guy into a situation where he's got to let his house go or short sell or foreclose. So that's kind of what we saw happen. And it happened to a lot of good people too that put, a good chunk of cash down, they just bought kind of at the right time. But it had to do with the amount of people, I think, that had no skin in the game and had no business, purchasing the amount of properties or the, a property amount or purchase price that they were buying in. So this go around, I think a lot of people have kind of learned their lesson, a little bit more gun shy, but most of the loans that we're seeing now, a good chunk of them are putting a large down payment down. There's a ton of people that are paying straight cash on these properties. So I don't really see anything like happened, before happening again. At some point, will the market maybe flatten out or not be so aggressive as it is now? It's kind of has to be, right? Because we've been on a pretty good run here, but I don't see happening what happened in 2006, 7, 8 happening again.
Yeah. So even for a lot of our clients that come through it, and most of our clients are in that category of ultra net worth, the one thing that's so interesting is when it comes to real estate, you can be as a sophisticated investor in a lot of areas, but when you're buying your first home, it's always an experience to say the least, right? And I think one of the things that you come through is very similar to our industry in the financial world. There's 300,000 financial advisors, right? There's a lot of us. In the mortgage lending space, there's tons of lenders as well. And so a question we all often get asked is, how do you navigate between who's good, who's bad? Doesn't matter. Should they just be looking for rates? Talk to the audience of when they're looking through purchasing a home, how important their lender is.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So first of all, you're trusting someone with usually, the biggest or largest asset, purchase of your life. So it can be a lot more going into it than just shopping online, find, who maybe have a, eighth less than rate that, doesn't have a lot of skin in the game. And so there's a lot of good things that you can look for. First of all, a lot of the big banks and things of that nature, the loan officers can pretty much walk in, maybe do a little bit of a training and then call themselves a loan officer. They don't have to get licensed, so there's really no license requirement through some of those big banks. So where if you're working with a smaller bank or non-depository bank like ourselves, we actually have to go through the process of getting licensed, do all the education and keep that up, so that makes a huge difference. Also, a lot of those people that are in those call center type environments, which you may be getting an eighth of a rate more, don't have the team behind them or the skill set to maybe put your deal through or qualify you for the best program or a rate that you may have available. A good explanation or example of that would be self-employed borrowers. Like, there's a lot of business owners out there that make a lot of money, but as anyone knows that runs a business, there's usually a lot of money goes out the door too, right? So for most loan officer, they see a self-employed borrower, they take a glimpse at it, and if depending on what it's showing as income, they go, oh, you don't qualify. Well, did they take the time to get all the different parts of that tax return and schedules and read through it all and figure out what income that they can give back to them through the expenses and things that they have out? And many times the people that are making a lot of money are getting turned down when they shouldn't be, right? So there's a lot of opportunity for us to help educate the community out there that, just because somebody tells you one thing, don't necessarily take that for an answer. Maybe they have some sort of overlays or they don't have the programs that we have access to, so.
It's something we run into a lot because our clientele, being professional athletes and then business owners, is that exact thing. Is we joke around as the person who's got two pay stubs as a W-2 employee at whatever at McDonald's, is easier to get a loan than sometimes our professional athletes. We, especially when you start to move into the jumbo space. We had a client all-star last year making around $3 million, has over $1 million in assets, but has been penalized almost for being fiscally responsible because he's never owned anything already. He has only one credit card, and he rents from another teammate, and he's in the big leagues, and obviously we'd all love to have his financial situation. In the jumbo loan, the trying to get him a loan was, sorry, we're not going to do this. And his home purchase was like a $3 million home.
Yeah.
And so you've got to find people that can understand that. And then even on the business side, of being a business owner myself, going through getting a home equity line to just to redo a portion of my house. The hoops I had to jump through to get a tiny amount of money out of my house, it literally got to the frustration point that I'm like, I'm not even going to deal with it, and it's very interesting because I'm sitting there going, I'm the person that you should probably lend money to, and so having people like yourselves who can navigate that information is super helpful.
Yeah, definitely helpful, and then having access to the team that we built, which takes a lot of time and energy, so when you start working with a lot of people that are trying to buy homes, people aren't just shopping for homes, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, right? Most of the action is happening after hours, holidays, weekends, so they need to have people available to, answer questions, update pre-qualification letters, those type of things that, get them what they need to be able to get an offer, especially in a hot, seller's market like we have now.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about, real estate agents. I think that's another area where there's hundreds of thousands of them, right? And a lot of time, every time somebody comes to us and like, hey, I want to buy something, it's usually I've got a cousin or I've got an aunt or a friend who's a real estate agent. And I know obviously some of your best referral sources are great real estate agents. Talk about how important a real estate agent is and maybe where people can turn to find good ones.
Yeah, I mean, having an agent is huge. First of all, if you're buying a house, it doesn't cost you anything to have that representation, so it's not very intelligent to not use one, right? So you need someone on your behalf, negotiating, trying to make an offer, trying to help you look for, hey, what's, maybe you should get an inspection done, this AC doesn't look too good, this roof's got, some issues, you're probably looking at about this much money, to repair this house, so definitely a no-brainer to have one on the buy side and sell side. But I think it kind of goes back to the same thing that we have, it's always, working with a real estate team versus an individual. There's way more benefit as far as marketing capabilities, people that are going to be available to show you properties, the amount of marketing that goes into getting your home so that a team is providing versus like a single agent that's your brother that does it every once in a while, and just market knowledge on the area that you're looking into, so I would definitely research agents, and I always have a lot of recommendations that I could give to you on some of the biggest high producers in the area. I think the team, same way, and the mortgage industry of things are going to really outrun all the individuals, just because there's no way that an individual can ever keep up with what a team's doing for one buyer or seller, right? You got 5 people working on your behalf, or you got one part-time uncle that's got another job, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to go with those onesie-twosie guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Shifting back to a conversation you had, you're part of a team, like you said, you have a few business partners. Talk about, just what that experience is like. You've been in business for a long time. You could have made the option of, hey, I'm just going to be a solo kind of producer and be my own thing. Why did you choose to be a part of the team? What are those dynamics?
Well, I think just because, I've always been a giver and always want to do the best that I can for my customer, and I, at the end of the day, your word is all you have, and if you're not backing up what you're saying out there, then you don't really have anything. So I always wanted to have somebody available to take care of my customers or take care of my agent if they need to get a pre-qualification letter for their buyer so they can get that offer, get that house accepted. So I think me just wanting to provide the best service and options that I can is how I went to the team arena. And it's always a work in progress, I feel that I'm best out with meeting people and meeting with my agent partners and, helping make the phone ring and bringing in the business. And there's people that are stronger than me at actually, digging through the tax returns and those type of things and the paperwork stuff, which I don't enjoy doing as much. So, and then just having people available all the time is really the only direction as far as the team thing goes. And been fortunate enough took us a while, but we've kind of created our own little mini bank atmosphere, whereas a lot of different lenders, you go in there and you have the loan officer will take the loan application, they send it off to their processor, which their processor is in a different state or different time zone, that adds delay, and then their processor will put everything together, then they'll send it over to their underwriter who's in a different location and time zone, that adds more delay, and there's more hands in the pot that are not communicating on the same level as us, and then you have your doctor's funders in other parts of the state or the country. So there's a lot of different pieces that go into having a loan sign off on funded. Whereas we went through and spent the time and effort, we have our own underwriter that works in our office just for our team. So if we ever have any questions or need them to do anything, we say, hey, can you look at this for us, right? And then we have our own processors, processor assistants, doc charge funders, all that work, on our behalf only. So, we can be as fast as possibly allows. We can close a purchase, start to finish in 10 days if we need to, which is kind of unheard of out there.
Yeah, that's flying. Talk to me about technology. We see a lot going on, right? Of course, there's I think Rocket Loans is Quicken Loans is a big deal. I have a close friend who's founder of Maxwell, which is actually more supporting lenders than it is going to direct to consumer. But how do you see technology affecting your guys' business? Is it something that you guys are proactive with, or is it really solving two different types of clients?
I think there's different kinds of people want different kinds of things, so you have to have something for everyone type thing. And I think Rocket Mortgage has done a good job of kind of creating the image of that happening, even though it doesn't work as good as they say that it does. But you still have people that just want to click a button online and feel like they're getting approved, which most of the time they're not. In combats to that, we have something similar where obviously you can go online, fill out applications, you can pull your credit, and then pretty soon you'll be able to issue, your own pre-qualifications, order your automated, asset and income verifications, all that stuff. So that stuff is coming, and it should be a lot stronger than what Rocket Mortgage has. So I align myself with the company American Financial Network that's kind of on the front end of all that stuff, and that's really what attracted me to them. And I think we're really seeing a lot of the companies that may be older or don't want to make those adjustments, pull out of the market or merge or get out. I hear every day, a couple different lenders that are local here closing, 50 branches or 100 different branches, or hey, these bigger banks are moving out of these states, or hey, this one just merged with so-and-so. So there's a lot of movement going on out there, I think, and struggle to, position for those type of things. And I think it's a combination between having access to, hey, I want to fill everything out on my app online, and I, just want to get it through as quickly as possible, but then have somebody that's, not your call center LO sitting in queue making $15 an hour team behind you to figure out that situation and actually make it happen. So
yeah, I mean, being able to pick up the phone's huge.
Yeah.
We love the convenience. It's interesting in the financial world. I think we see this a lot. There's the sell of this like easy window, but when money's being transacted, it slows down no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
And so having someone that you can actually pick up the phone and call is worth, and I'm not even saying there's a premium on your guys' rates or anything, but that's a large part of when I talk to our clients is like, hey, you're going to get sold a rate that doesn't really exist anyways.
Yeah.
And good luck getting people on phone calls, because your complex situation is going to send off red flags. So
Yeah.
having that personal relationship is huge, being sensitive to time. Just a few more questions. What I love is your experience working on Gallon Gear as far as the marketing side of it has to be beneficial for you, of just even bringing awareness to your personal brand and what you're doing and with your company. Are you personally online? How can people find you?
Yeah, for sure, and I think you're 100% correct. You follow all the big people like Gary Vaynerchuk and Grant Cardone, those type of guys. And I think they're great influencers. They're good role models in that space and what they're trying to do. But you can totally find me on Facebook and Instagram at Ryan Mandley. So, like you said, it's kind of forced me to jump in and try to be as big as a social, influencer as I can to help get the word out. I've been doing, a lot of different videos and things, answering a lot of questions on my YouTube channel, Ryan Mandley as well. So they can check that out if you want any more information on, some of the questions or things that I've answered out there. If there's information that anybody wants from me or has questions they want answered, feel free to reach out to me on any of those platforms also.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to chat a little bit today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to the Athlete CEO podcast. I hope you enjoyed our show today and are ready to take action on the advice from today's episode. Our goal with the Athlete CEO podcast is to make it the go-to resource for athletes and entrepreneurs looking to take their game to the next level. Love the show? You have any suggestions on how we can improve? We'd love to hear from you. Send us an email, tweet, and share your thoughts. We do our best to read every single one. We'll see you next week with another world-class episode.